Hello, this is the really quick story of Ben and how he became a freaking legend. There's no hard selling here, so you can chill out, relax, leave your credit cards in your pockets, sit back and learn. So this is Ben. He has a wife, he has a kid, and he also has a pet dog. He's a pretty average bloke, plays football on the weekends, goes down to the pub, and has an average job, which he doesn't really like. And one day he went into work, and his boss said, "Hi Ben, can we just have a quick word?" He was puzzled. He was also worried. And then eventually his boss said, "I'm so sorry. Thanks for your 12 years at work here, but times are tough and we're going to have to do some cutbacks. And sorry, you're one of the cutbacks." So he packs his box. He's shell-shocked. He doesn't know what to do. It's only 10 a.m. So instead of going home, he goes to the local coffee shop to sort of recoup and gather his thoughts. And he goes from tears to then anger. How dare they do this to me? But the thing is, Ben has just been punched in the face. And Mike Tyson once said, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. And right now, Ben has been punched. So he goes home, tells the ever-supportive wife, and then goes to the pub. He meets his waster friend Dave down the pub. They get absolutely trolleyed. And then Ben enters this weird cycle of going home, watching TV, going to bed late, drinking beer, meeting Dave again. Dave just exacerbates everything, gets him even more pissed. And he does his normal, job hopping searches. He goes to Indeed or CV Library or whatever and applies for 50 different jobs, gets nowhere. And then this cycle continues and continues, and it's been almost a month, and he's always a bum at the moment. And his wife comes in, tells him to get off his ass, and as you can see, she's quite livid. She doesn't even have any legs. And then he goes to this networking meeting after being forced to go there by his wife, and he meets this lovely lady called Sandra. Sandra is a distant friend or an acquaintance, and he's always known her to be a bit of a business magnate. And Sandra says, "Hey, do the WAP. The WAP is a map of getting you from where you are now to where you want to be." And she then goes on to say, money is a byproduct of value. In order to earn more, first you need to become more. And she gives Ben this big old speech and really fires him up. And then Ben actually goes off on a bit of a self-development binge. He looks at YouTube videos, he gets some audiobooks, etc. He comes across a few spiritual type people. And he thinks, okay, I need to pray to the universe and wish it to become true. Look in the mirror and say I'm a millionaire. And he does this whole type thing every day. But the thing is, a month or two later, he's really happy and positive, but he hasn't really got anywhere. Hasn't even got a job yet. And then Sandra gives him another pep talk. "Ben, you idiot, the universe doesn't give a toss about what you wish for. Implementation is the mother of getting shit done." And she then goes on to say that this is what most people think success looks like. You start, you end up finishing somewhere. But the thing is, when you do get going, it does look good for the first minute, day, maybe week. And then all hell breaks loose and you end up going backwards far more than you go forwards. And so she says, you need to own your future, Ben. You need to set up and own your own business. Now, this is a bit of a shock because Ben can't even get a job, let alone a freaking business. So he has all of the normal thoughts and questions popping up in his head, like why, what, when, where, how, etc. And so Sandra decides to take him under his wing, and she basically nurtures him for a bit. And first of all, they look at the why. And she was saying that she analysed her friends and her dad's business acquaintance, etc. And she realised that a lot of her dad's sort of business mates had hit retirement, or whatever they deemed retirement, after 20 years of working. Now, 20 years of working, of being a one-man band, she worked out was roughly 40,000 hours. So she has this rule of thumb of the 40,000 hour rule of thumb. But basically, if you have staff within your business, those staff are doing 40 hours a week towards your goals, dreams, and retirement, etc. And so, stupid Windows. Disappear. Thank you. And so, yeah, if you get some staff, after 6.6 years, you can basically hit those 40,000 hours. If you get 5 members of staff, including yourself, you can hit those 40,000 hours into your own train set within 3.3 years. So the trick is, get your own business, get some staff, and deliver value to the marketplace, whatever that may be. But the thing is, he goes to the pub and he meets his mate Dave, and Dave doesn't like the sound of Sandra. Sandra smells fishy. And then basically fills him with all sorts of negative beliefs. What Dave was actually doing was projecting his own inadequacies upon Dave. And so basically Ben was a bit deflated after meeting Dave and went back to Sandra a few weeks later with all of these stupid excuses. And so Sandra has a bit of a rant. Bullshit, Ben. No one cares about how good your excuses are. Bitching and whining will never produce a positive outcome. After all those years of watching football with your waster friend Dave in the pub, you're a bloody Einstein when it comes to football stats. There isn't a stat you don't know. Your brain isn't the problem, Ben. It's simply your lack of confidence, direction, and focus. You've just been wasting your talent on crap that doesn't actually matter in the real world. Just imagine where you'd be if you'd applied the same time and effort you do dicking about in the pub into something productive like your own business. Rant over. Okay, breathe, Sandra. Again, he was pretty much punched in the face again. But the thing is, what? What exactly is he going to do? So Sandra presents these A and B numbers. And so your A number is your ideal monthly take-home income, and your B number is your lump sum required to generate your A number through return on investment. Now, one of the most important things here is that you should only buy toys through the golden eggs that your golden goose spits out. So, for example, if you want a new car or a new gadget or Wizmo, first you need to go out and buy, create, or find an asset which spits out a monthly income or a cash flow, and then you use that cash flow to then buy your toys. Or if you're even more disciplined, you can then have second generation eggs. So you get an asset that spits out first generation egg, you then use that egg to set up another asset which then produces more cash flow, and then you buy the toy with the second generation eggs. So that's basically the preface, or the mentality behind what the rich do. They don't spend their freaking capital. They don't park it. They use their capital to create cash flow, and then they utilize the cash flow. So feel free to pause the video at some point or whenever you want, and it's worth just plopping in your figures of what your personal expenditure is. So you have everything from your mortgage and rent and your groceries, etc. But I'm going to fast forward things and put in some random figures which I think ring true for a fair number of households out there. So what this comes to is that every month, so this is basically what your ideal spending would look like. So you're not going to be spending anything on a rent or mortgage, etc., because you probably own it by now. This is your ideal lifestyle, by the way. And so with your ideal lifestyle, that pretty much comes to about 8 grand a month plus 2 grand a month for a buffer. So that's 10 grand a month. And chatting with thousands of people, what we have found at the Wealth Action Plan is that most people could live the life of a king and queen if they had 10 grand a month take home. So that's basically 120 grand a year. Now, we divide it by 0.07, and what that gives us is 1.71 million pounds. Now, the reason we divide it by 0.07 is because that's basically simulating that a 7% ROI. So if you had 1.71 million pounds that made a 7% return per year, that's your 120 grand. So we round it up and add a million for shits and giggles, and that's your B number. So the extra million we've added in is to buy your house, your cars, and all the big lump sum capital expenditures. So basically, you need £3 million, which would then get you everything you need, and then you park it in a fire and forget fund that makes 7% per year, and there you go. You've got your A number. So how and when do you think you're going to get those numbers, Ben? The 40-40-40 plan won't work. And what the 40-40-40 plan is basically working 40 hours a week for 40 years and then retiring on a pension 40% of what you struggled to live on in the first place. And in the UK, it's not even 40%. It's roughly 29%. We have one of the worst pensions in the world. Business, I guess. but I haven't got a clue of what to do or where to start. So she then talks about the volume price chart in terms of where businesses lie. So first of all, we have the prestige sector. So this is where you have an extremely high price point product, but very low volume. So Bugatti Veyrons and Bugatti Chirons would be, a pretty good example of a business in the prestige sector. You then have what's called the unicorn sector, where you have basically things where you have really high volume and really high price point. So this is Apple. Everyone bloody has an iPhone or an iPad, etc., and they're pretty much overpriced compared to what else is out there on the market. You then have the data sector. So this is the sort of the FANG companies, the Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, and Google's, where extremely high volume customers or users, but very low price point, or even free in Google's case. Google is the ultimate data business. And then you have the misery sector. Whatever you do, do not dick about with a company or a business or a product or an idea in the low price point, low price, low volume. That's pretty cool. Which sector should I aim for? Well, the data tends to be the good sector. So if you have high volume, low price point, it gives you resilience. So if you lose a couple of customers, it doesn't hurt. Whereas if you're in the prestige sector, if you lose a couple of customers, it's going to hurt. So aim for the data. Now, data can mean anything. It could be, it doesn't mean you have to go and set up the next Google, but you can have a low price point product, whether it's £1 a month or £10 a month, or even just a one-off price of, £5. But then you get thousands and thousands of customers. So here's Sandra's favorite business model. Low price point, high margin, high volume, subscription based, automated, and low churn. And the beauty of that is that if you have a business which meets all those criteria, you'll be able to sell it for 10 to 20 times earnings. So what that means is if you have a business that matches all these criteria and you're making, say, £1 million a year, you'll be able to sell it for 10 to 20 million pounds. So what industry should I get into? Ben asks. Well, then Sandra goes to a whiteboard. She loves a good whiteboard. And then shows him the demographic spending wave. And basically, over the last, 70 years, we've had very accurate data. And what this means is that we know where we spend the most amount of money in our lives at each point of our lives. So when we're 26 years old, we spend the most amount of money on a flat because we're just getting a house. We then start getting a job. We start becoming professionals and settling down. And then we're starting to make a family. So then when we're 31, we get our first starter home. Then when we're 41, we trade up our homes. We spend more money on furniture in our whole lives when we're 46 years old, and that coincides with our kids growing up and needing more stuff. Same with uni fees when we're 51. Then the kids leave home, and so we've got a bit of spending money, so we then splash out on a car. So at 53 years old, we buy our most expensive car. We then start to have healthcare issues, so you start spending more money on medicine when you're 60. You start going to more holidays when you're 65 because you're really starting to wind down and you want to chill out a bit. But the thing is, we spend more money on cruise ships when you're 70 years old. And that's because we spend basically 5 years of traveling the world, but then we're so pissed off of waiting in queues in airports that we just want to jump on a ship, feed me, booze me, and then, I'm happy. And then when you're 77, more drugs, and then nursing homes when you're 84. Also, there's another one which I haven't put in here, which is lawn care. So you spend more on gardening when you're 80 than any other time, which is quite weird. I would have thought it would be in the 60s. Anyway, wow, Ben says. So I need to go into industries where baby boomers are heading into, or health, wealth, and happiness industries for the millennials. And so the thing with here is that if you look at the baby boomers were the biggest demographic on the planet up until 2016, 2015. And all the baby boomers are in their 70s right now. So cruise ships, drugs and nursing homes and lawn care are going to be booming for the baby boomers. But mind you, they are a dying generation. Whereas if you, from 2016, the millennials are now the world's biggest demographic. So this is why we've had a bit of a housing spurt over the last few years. Is because the millennials, we're about 30, or anywhere between sort of roughly 25 to 35 years old. And so that's why we're all buying the starter homes. And then eventually, so you can see that the auto industry is going to take a bit of a hammering because the baby boomers are, they're getting older, and the millennials haven't hit their peak earning and spending yet. And we won't hit our peak earning and spending until we're in our sort of mid to late 40s. So yeah. Sandra says, yep, or anything that meets a want. Cool, thanks. What's next then? Brainstorming your numbers. So we've got your A number, we have your B number. Remember, your A number is your ideal, perfect monthly take-home income, and your B number is the big lump sum capital that spits out your A number. Remember, they are the criteria we want for a business. And so start off with having something which is about £9 per month with about an 80% margin, because remember, this is online, so you can have very low costs. So worst case scenario, you'll be able to sell it for 10 times profits. So if you want to, so basically you, if you sell a business, you'll then have 10% entrepreneur's relief. So if you're going to sell it for 3 million, that's going to be 300 grand in taxes. In tax, but then there's going to be other miscellaneous fees and stuff that you're not familiar with. So let's aim for a 3.5 million exit. So what this means is you need a business that chucks out 350 grand a year in profits. So with an 80% margin, that means you need 420 grand turnover per year. And so remember, if you have something which is £9 a month, that means your yearly value, your yearly customer value is £108. So 420 grand divided by 108 means you need 3,889 paying customers. But let's say you're going to do this over 3 years and accounting for churn. Let's double that and add a bit for buffer. Let's call it 8,000 customers you need to get over the next 3 years. That accounts for churn. Well, it's only 223 per month, or 8 per day. Ben is shocked and confused. He's like, holy shit. 8 a day, 223 a month? You got to be kidding. But the thing is, you could pretty much door knock. Not that door knocking is a nice thing, but if you really wanted to bust a gut for the next 3 years, you could find 9 customers a month. So that's a bit daunting. So let's just aim for the A number. You don't always have to sell your business. You can hit your A number a lot sooner than you'll ever hit your B number. So if you want 10 grand a month, 20 grand a month turnover will do the trick. So 20 grand a month divided by £9 a month, you just need 2,223 clients. Or if you had a £99 per month product, 202 clients. Or 20 clients if you had a premium price product. But in reality, you can have all of them. You can have a £9 a month product. You're then going to have a slightly higher product and then a premium price product. So you're going to hit this a lot sooner than you think. Again, Ben doesn't have a clue what he's going to do. He's got his waster friend Dave on one shoulder saying, nah mate, this is all bollocks. Just get any old job and be happy with your lot. Just bang out a few more kids and get on the benefits. Jobs are good. But then you have Sandra, who actually is starting to make a bit of sense. So let's bring things down a notch. Let's just aim to sack your future boss then. So you need £2,000 per month to replace your income. Okay, well, let's aim for 3 grand a month turnover, and you're sorted. So £3,000 per month divided by £9 per month, just 334 clients. You just need 334 people paying £9 a month, and you can then fire your boss. It's not that hard, is it? That's roughly 1 per day, Ben. So here's the next question you have to ask yourself. Imagine you now have a gun held to your head, and you know that trigger is going to be pulled in 3 years' time if you haven't hit those numbers. So if you haven't hit 334 clients over the next 3 years, that trigger's being squeezed. What are you going to do? You're going to do it. You will pull this out of the bag. You'd probably do it in a year if you had that threat hanging over your shoulders or over your family's heads. So let's look at the next question. Where are you going to find these customers? Well, whether you like it or not, you're going to have to get clued up about online marketing. Okay. Where do you start with this then? knowing your client journey, and CPL and CPA stats. Okay, a bit confusing, but basically, whenever you have a goal, there's going to be many winding roads around there, and it is unfortunate. No matter what business you're going to do, you're going to have to learn a bit of online marketing, and with that, these are the two most important stats in business: your CPL, cost per lead, and CPA, cost per acquisition. But really, it's CPA, which is one that actually you need to care about. And so you have to imagine that you're going to create a machine, a marketing machine or a funnel. And basically, you need to get it to the point where for every £1 you put in at the top, £2 come in at the bottom. So let's work this out. Let's say you spend £1,000 on marketing and 100 leads pops up. And then let's say out of those 100 leads, you have a pretty good conversion rate and 25 clients pop out the bottom. So your cost per lead is basically your £1,000 divided by 100 leads, so it's £10, and your CPA is £40 here. So it's costing you £40 to get a customer. Now obviously you then have to tweak some numbers because it then depends how much your customers are paying you. So in this case, let's say it is a £9 per month customer and it's costing you 40 quid, you're going to be underwater for 4.44 months. But 25 clients over the year, that's going to make you £2,700. So really, you've actually made 170% ROI over the period of a year. So it all goes down to, can you get underwater? But even better, it would be much better if your CPA got down to £9, because then you can get clients for free. Remember, if it's costing you £9 a month, if a client is paying you £9 a month and it's only costing you £9 to get a new customer, then you've basically written your ticket to financial independence. So here's a way that you can get started. You're going to have to find some sort of idea, or even if you're not sure of the idea, survey it. So put a survey out on Facebook and ask people, what they want, and then you can present, and then people say what they want, and then you can design a course, like an information course, around the answers of what people in the survey have. So try and get 100 people to fill in your survey, and then what you need to do is you need to go back to those people and then say, hey, I now have a course based on everything that everyone wants, and what we're going to do is have a 6-week live webinar course. So every week, every Wednesday night for 6 Wednesdays in a row, we're going to do this course and we're going to cover everything. And then see how many of those people on the survey actually do that. I remember once I surveyed 100 people, and in that survey I also asked, how much would you be willing to pay to learn this information? And 48 people bought this cheap course when I went back to them. You then do review, apply, then repeat the campaign, and just keep doing it until all of the niggles are ironed out. You've got all of the frequently asked questions. You know when the questions are going to be asked, so you can then tweak your course so the questions don't get asked. You just cover them in the correct order, and then you can do a proper launch. And that's when you have your proper business and you can launch faux show. So Sandra then says, but the question is, Ben, will you actually do it? Integrity equals commitment to your cause. And what commitment is doing the thing you said you're going to do long after the mood you said it in has passed. No bullshit excuses this time, Ben. You have everything to gain and nothing to lose by doing this. Now is the best time ever to set up a business. Hell, just look at the emerging technologies. We have blockchain, Internet of Things, VR and AI, robotics, AI, 3D printing, biotech, drones, and the 5G and the solar revolution. There's so many things that you could get into. Now, be honest, Ben. If you were to go to a 15-year school reunion right now, would you dread it? Would you dread it? Probably yes. Or even worse, imagine you're an old person with grandkids, and your grandkids one day says, tell us something fun you did when you were younger, Granddad. Again, dread. So you need to flip that. You need to own your life now. You need to get into business now. You need to hit your A and B numbers. You need to aim to amass your wealth. Well, you need to amass your financial... You need to hit your financial independence targets within a reasonable 5 to 10 year period, not a 40-year period. So then when your grandkids ask you this, you can then smile. And then you can share So you need to hit rewind and start now. Now is the best time to start. So like Sandra says, you just need to do the WAP. The WAP is a map that gets you from where you are now to where you want to be. So you need to basically delete either Ben from your life, or you need to delete the pub. So you need to delete Dave or the pub from your life. Just get yourself away from it, and then you can start basically progressing. This is if you actually want to earn more money, that is. So the WAP is a map that gets you from where you are now to where you want to be. And this is basically what you would learn within the Wealth Action Plan. We have a free 10-day trial where we basically kickstart you into proper personal finances. You can also then find your why. You'll learn everything there is to know about money, investing, how to set up, create and grow your biz, and then eventually sell your business. Because that's where all of the real profit is made. If you look at any billionaire on the planet, pretty much 90% of them made their wealth when they sold their business or they IPO'd. So, here's a recommended plan of action. Go to thewap.org and do the 10-day challenge. It's completely free. You basically get 1 or 2 videos delivered via Facebook Messenger every day for 10 days. If you go to thewap.org, this is what it looks like. Just hit the free 10-day challenge button and then you'll get your messages. Become a WAPper if you like what you see. It's only £9 per month if you want to learn more on how to get into all the business type stuff and the online marketing and everything. And that's basically the price of 2 overpriced cups of coffee or 30p a day. It's an absolute no-brainer. It really is. So prepare for a new journey and a new life. And as Sandra says, you need to be prepared to live like most won't, so you can eventually live like most can't. Well, I hope this helps. This was supposed to be a 10-minute video, but it's now turned into about a half an hour video. So, yes, I really do look forward to seeing you on the 10-day challenge. And then if you like what you see, this is basically what happens. We have a private Facebook group here, and it's a hive of information. So, yeah, if you have any questions whatsoever, you can pop them in here. You'll get answers straight away. Yeah, take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.